that might be true.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to Brosé. Just a couple of bros drinking rosé and talking fitness. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Usually we start with that.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
get into it.
Making me wait.
I'm Mike. Dustin, don't talk to me till after the show, okay? Hi, I'm your host, Mike Garrity. I am the strongest comedian in this room, and I'm here with my co-host, Dustin Nelson, who's a doctor of Chinese medicine, and a kinesiologist, and an acupuncturist, and an herbalist, and a Virgo. Right?
No.
All right,
Close.
who cares?
All right.
We are here to help you sift through all the murky murk that's out there on the interwebs when it comes to fitness and self-care, and help you find the stuff that's actually true and good and real. And we have a few laughs along the way. Right, Dustin?
I'm not a Virgo.
Huh? Is that offensive to you? You know it's not real, right? We always start the show out by doing a quick, fast overview of the questions that we're going to cover in the episode. So if you have a short attention span, or if you have to go to the bathroom and you don't have AirPods, you can just listen to the overview, get a few headlines, a few answers, a little bit of info, and get on out of here. And then we deep dive into the rest for those of you that want to learn a thing or two about a thing or two.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, let's go into the lightning round here of today's questions. Dustin,
Yeah.
do I really need to warm up before weightlifting?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get into that. Is sushi hard to digest?
That's a comparative question,
So we'll dive into that later.
but it can be more difficult. It can create gastrointestinal problems.
I
Yes.
said later. Okay, Dustin, fuck, marry, kill. Predator, the actual alien from the movie, not the movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the guy, or the Russian MiG from Top Gun.
Kill the predator. The MiG, marry Arnold.
That is correct. Is it really that big of a deal if when I break my nose, I let my friend Adam reset it with a spoon?
Does Adam have orthopedic medical training?
I don't know.
Then probably yes, that's an issue.
Will digging a big ass hole every day get me a hot dream bod?
Depending on what you eat, but it's a good way to train.
Will chin-ups still make me stronger if I don't pull my chin completely over the bar?
It can. It also depends on the size of the human that you're pulling up. So we can dive into that.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That was your hot five. Now scram or listen up closer. I was trying to think of a way to say listen that rhymed with scram. Couldn't do it. Fell
Yeah.
short. All right.
I don't know that that's crucial. So
Let's get into some of these where you didn't have a quick answer.
I had quick answers for all of them,
Well, that's, I disagree.
but there is some. So the sushi thing I want to get back to
All right.
because that was a question that you interrupted me.
Well, it's a lightning round, so
Yeah, fair.
I get the power of lightning.
So sushi's great. I'm not a huge sushi fan. Okay, I eat it.
Okay.
I'm gonna just disclaim that. I eat it. I don't crave it. I'm not a
Okay.
person for whom sushi is one of those big, oh, I can't wait to get to this
Well,
thing.
because I tell you what, I've always heard you say that cooking your food before you eat it helps you digest it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking,
Yeah.
sushi's raw.
Yeah, you're right.
Is it tough?
But there's also a great, so what we're saying, let's unpack that, pun intended. When you cook your food, you help unpack the nutrients. You make it easier to digest and assimilate those nutrients. So even though you're destroying some nutrients and there's a reduction of the total, you're gonna get more of those.
Gotcha.
And it's better, especially if you have a distressed GI tract, okay? So if you have any level of gastrointestinal issue, eating food that's cooked or pre-digested is gonna be better for you. Sushi is not cooked, and that's fine. It's got plenty of health benefits. Eating a high quality seafood, plenty of health benefits. But there are some downsides, right? There are some downsides. And those downsides don't just have to do in terms of the fact that it's harder to digest, although it can be something that is difficult for some people to digest. It's also, there's a concern over some of the parasites that you get in there. And it's not uncommon for people to have parasites removed from their stomach or from their intestinal tract, mostly in the intestinal
From
tract.
sushi?
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Well, that's the great thing about science,
Well,
Mike. It doesn't care what you think.
Where are you getting the
It's,
sushi from?
well, it doesn't matter, and that's the thing. So go back, okay? There was a big kick for a long period of time about eating tuna. Tuna was this health thing and everything, and then all of a sudden popped up this thought, or idea. It was a rage, right?
Uh-huh.
And everyone's like, it's cheap, it's easy to, it's portable, it's great.
When
There's
I was
no
a bartender,
downsides.
people hated it when I ate tuna behind the bar.
Can absolutely understand why.
But you can fit a whole stack of them inside a Pringles can, so it's a perfect travel food.
Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know that I believe that, but that's okay. So
That's the thing about science, Dustin.
So
doesn't matter.
the problem with tuna, and it's not a problem, okay? It is an issue that is inherent in the consumption of tuna, is that tuna, and the way it feeds, tends to have a higher metal content than other seafoods. Loosely translated, garbage of the sea in French, it's a bottom feeder. It's part of the reason it can get so big. And so it doesn't matter that, oh, I got this sashimi grade or whatever that may be. It can actually have detrimental nutrients or metals that are.
You gotta be eating a ton of this stuff for that to be a problem,
See,
right?
and that's what you would think, except that depending on the size of the human, doing a couple of cans a week is enough to really throw somebody, maybe not your size, but maybe 3/4 your size, into some.
Like you?
Ooh, that was.
There's
hurtful,
a
Mike.
lot of all-you-can-eat sushi places where I'm from,
Yeah.
and my buddy Keith and I used to get kicked out of them for
Yeah.
eating too much.
I have no trouble.
But we used to go
believing
to one place so often that they stopped kicking us out. And hell, Keith married the waitress.
That's when so deep we stayed in. So there's issues to overconsumption of anything. One of the concerns we have with sushi would be there tend to be heavier metal content. There can be parasites. And these are not things that people talk about. You're not going to come out and all of a sudden be like, hey, I got a thyroid problem because I ate too much sushi. Or I have a really hard time dropping body fat because I have gut issues because of all the raw fish I was eating. Now, here's the thing. There are people who constitutionally and in terms of their palate and lifestyle, they've got themselves in a spot where they can handle it, and they're totally fine. So this is not
Hell yeah.
applicable.
Training for sushi?
Well, by eating it.
All right, we found the answer here, folks. The answer is it's tough, it's hard to know, but you can train for it like a real athlete.
All I'm saying is that there's upsides and downsides to everything. That certainly doesn't mean stop eating sushi, but if you're a person who already has GI issues, or you're a person for whom metals are a concern, or you have any propensities for having parasites and things, I'd probably limit the amount of raw fish I'm eating.
Okay, so is it hard to digest? Sometimes maybe hard to say. Talk to your local sushi expert. Dustin, I want to ask you about this pull-up thing because I don't know that I don't think I ever get my chin above the bar when I'm doing pull-ups. So like, am I wasting my time? Or will doing these little 3/4 reps eventually make me strong enough to get my chin over the top? Or do I have just a wildly, do I have a vast misunderstanding of chin-ups?
Yes,
in general?
yes, and yes. Okay, so with the chin up, and generally it doesn't matter if we're talking a neutral grip, a pronated grip, or a supinated grip. If you're having a difficulty completing the complete range of motion and pulling your clavicle to the bar or your chin above the bar, it's probably because of one of two things. Either you lack the range of motion to move your body in that space, or you lack the strength to move in that range of motion with the force necessary to lift your full mic above the bar. So it could be either of those things. Does it mean it's not beneficial? No, it can still be beneficial if you do partial reps, okay? So there's plenty of exercises that we use where we will overload or increase the amount of time we spend in a certain area of that movement to help strengthen it. So you're still strengthening those other areas, and you're still probably recruiting quite a bit of abdominal strength because it's very taxing on your abs. Now, will it help you get above the bar if you do those partials? No, because it's not training the right range of motion for that.
Whoa, all right.
And so what you want to do in that case is probably, depending on where it is, you're either going to have to train the external rotators, or you're going to have to overload the eccentrics in those ranges to get you to a spot where you can,
Okay,
can
so
go above the bar.
Is it more beneficial to do Like if my goal is to be able to pull my chin above the bar,
Yeah.
is it more beneficial to do like 4 reps of chin above the bar or 15 reps of half reps?
Okay, so that's another good question. They're both beneficial, but it depends on your goal. So if you
Keep
can
my chin above the bar.
so if you can do 15 reps of partials, that's not going to increase your likelihood that you're going to reach your goal. So that would be a waste of time. It would be beneficial for you to complete that range of motion or to overload portions of that, because when you lower from the chin up, that's called your eccentric. So there's different concentric contraction. I go here. The lowering's the eccentric. And you should be stronger in that space. So if you overload that, it can actually help you achieve the strength to lift yourself all the way up.
If you're trying to get your chin ups all the way above the bar and you want to get stronger and be able to do more of those, start at the top, chin above the bar, and slowly lower yourself down.
And also work the muscles of the rotator cuff, but with external rotations to help strengthen that. So those combinations of things will most likely be useful.
I got a quick question for you. Mm-hmm. So when people use the lat pull down machine and they're pulling the handlebar straight down from over their head down, that's not really a lat exercise at that point because of the angle.
The lats are involved, but they're not training the lats the way most people think.
Right. So what about pronated chin ups? Isn't that a very similar motion?
Like
right?
there's obviously biceps and abs and even your pecs involved a little bit, but mostly the upper back. It's going to be mostly the teres and rhomboids and muscles.
So the lat. If you want to hit the lats with the chin up, you go supinated grip.
You're probably more likely in a supinated or semi-supinated. You're going to get the lower fibers of the lat. Don't forget the lat is a very long and flat muscle. So there's fibers up top, and there's fibers in the middle, and there's fibers down below. And so if you want to increase the amount of those you're getting, then you would probably bring the elbow in a way where it's more in line with the rib cage. So you're going to get more of a contraction on the lat. But most people, when they test chin up, they go pronated, and that's going to reduce the amount of lower lat and things.
Well, I actually am. This time I'm learning for me.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
Very good. Yeah.
You know what I call my lats? I call them bear claws because when I flex them, it looks like there's a bear holding me prom style from behind.
Prom style. That is very, very detailed graphic. Thanks.
Well, Dustin. Oh, you know what? Is there a quick answer to, digging a big ass hole every day give me a hot dream bod? Because I tell you what, I worked construction for about 5 years. I think I put on 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah. So from a male's perspective, when you say dream bod, we're looking at shoulder to waist ratio is going to make you more attractive. So the bigger shoulders and smaller waist. And then one of the best ways we can do that is by building get more bigger in the shoulder muscles. And so shoveling can help us do that. And a lot of load and repetition.
And wheelbarrow.
Is going to do that. Okay. Now, outside of that, it's also very calorically taxing. It's a lot of energy to move wheelbarrows and shovel dirt, okay? So you're kicking out a lot of calories. And if you're not eating a lot of calories, you're eating at a caloric deficit, you'll drop your body fat, and often that'll give the appearance of shrinking your waist or your midsection. So you're getting more up top, bigger up top, smaller in the waist, and it will, as long as you're eating fewer calories, eating fewer energy than you use, it'll make you more attractive.
So if you get those construction workers and swap out their beer and cigarettes for protein shakes and broccoli, it's like they're in the gym all day.
There's a lot of those guys that are shredded and tanned.
Well, I'll tell you what, here's how you run a wheelbarrow. Here's something that a lot of people, I don't know who might make this mistake, but no one on my site. You overload a wheelbarrow and the tire pops. And those are very expensive to fix. And you don't fill it all the way to the top because that'll pop the tire. And if you drop the concrete, if you're wheeling mud and you spill it, you're buying beer. That's the rule. So sometimes I teach you things. That brings us to the next portion of our show, where I give you 2 truths and a lie about my body, and then you tell me what the lie is that I gave you. And then, as an extra fun little step, we try to figure out why I'm asking you this stuff in the first place.
Okay.
You ready?
So I got to get the lie.
You're going to get the lie.
Okay.
All right, and then hopefully I'm going to get some help out of this.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yep.
If I spend too long in the bone zone, I limp for 2 days. That means sex. 2, most of the time, I have no hip pain, but occasionally a surprise bolt of searing pain.
Okay.
And 3, my hips have been bothering me ever since I fell off the chairlift at Mount Rose Ski Resort.
Can we go back to the first question? Something about a bone zone?
Yeah, if I spend too long in the bone zone.
Your
Like
hip-
it. Yeah. You know, like bone, like
Yeah,
bone
no,
zone,
no, I
like
understand
bone,
you.
like
If
humping.
if you spend an extended
Flarping.
period of time in mid coitus, you have hip pain. Is that what you're saying?
If I hump too long, I limp for 2 days.
You limp for 2 days.
Or if I hump too hard, but usually.
I'm gonna go with
usually
that
it's
as the
hard
lie.
and long, baby.
What?
You're
the
gonna say
lie.
that's the lie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my friend, the lie was actually this chairlift. I never fell off a chairlift at a ski resort.
Okay.
But I do have weird hips,
Yeah.
and I do
I
spend
was
some time. In
I
the
was
bone
really
zone.
hoping for myself and others that you were gonna be lying to me about that.
Well, we don't have to talk about the actual sex part, but
No,
the,
we do, because I got to get into your technique to try to figure out what's going on with that.
You want to get into my technique, you won't get out of my technique.
I
You want to go to the bone zone with me? That's what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I absolutely do not want to go to the bone zone with you, Mike. I am, however, concerned about your mid-coitus hip pain.
No, not mid-coitus. Day after.
After?
Day after.
For 2 days. Well, what this
Sometimes.
sounds like, you might have. So, okay, so you have that when you're and then random searing pains or shooting pains, right? So, okay, so if something refers very quickly, that's probably a nerve being picked off or occluded. So think of like somebody stepping on a garden hose and you stop the flow.
Yeah, hilarious
for-
prank.
But for a nerve, okay. So if you suddenly lose lose strength, or you feel a sudden shoot of pain somewhere, that's nerve pain, right? That's something nervy probably, and that's occluding the nerve or something kind of pressing on that. Now, if it's happening to you after you've put yourself in some unique positions, perhaps,
Probably completely original position.
okay. That would indicate that there's, based on the way your pelvis is moving and perhaps undulating or rotating, that your movement is actually pressing onto a nerve, and then that's going to cause some orthopedic things happening downstream. So what I would say is we might have to reposition your hip
Whoa.
and traction it, because that's, doing that. And that also would explain too why you're having, could contribute to squat pain or deadlift pain, anything that's creating that hip hinge.
Well, it sounds like I need an overhaul. And that's Brosé, folks. Just a couple of guys, just a couple of bros drinking rosé and talking fitness.
Did you get yourself flustered there, Mike?
Well, no, because sometimes you look at me in a way where I feel a lot of emotion that I can't identify. And then I completely fly off the rails.
Have a good night.